I have two poems for you. Every week, most of you probably know this, I do Medusa's Kitchen on Saturdays. I do photographs and I do poetry. So that means I have to write every week. Yeah. So I write about, this week is just, I don't know what came over me. I wrote about 10 things this week. And I'm going to read 2 of them that'll be there on Saturday. This one's called The Singing Starts, and I'm going to direct it to you, Ann, because you started to read that, and I said, oh yeah, I know that poem. And I live down by the river some days of the week in Locke, the Chinese community. These times in stillness, when I walk down from the hill, my long spirit pressed against the will of the trees as they breathe for me, I, whom they know only as the form that is not a bird, and is not a fox, or even a hare, or a mouse, or vole, the snow cracking beneath my boot, I walk slowly. There is only the charm of the place to hold me, and I am the piano the day has chosen for its own, or so it seems. I, fully awake, no particle of dream depending, I chase golden flares from my eyes, and there is that waltz. I am become almost by accident, but ordinary as dreams. It is Tuesday, or it is Wednesday, or it is the open wound, as explained by Wallace Stevens or Jorge Luis Borges, placing me in the labyrinth as fabric wraps a body. I am done with thinking. I will be the singing. I will always be in the cool of the garden on Sunday morning.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you. Mikey, this is for you. This is a report. Sometimes I see these things, and I sit down, and these are notes. I don't know what they're notes for. They're about a tale called The Tale of Rilan. And this is all I could discover about the Tale of Rilan, okay? So this is my report on notes toward the Tale of Rilan. In the earliest forms of the story, there was no large room acres across, lit with bats that flickered a green fire from their mouths as they flew. The lady who eventually went back to the harbor was nowhere to be found. There were 2 children, blind, who had much the same role. Clenneth was only seen riding. He never spoke except to order his soldiers, except one time when he closed the eyes of a lancer who had died but who would not stop crying. Perhaps it was the same man who was beheaded in the second version of the tale. The rats in the blasted plain figured in both versions, but the descriptions of the horses were startlingly different. The moaning chorus seems to have entered the story about 325 BC, and all versions say they played the white drums with white thigh bones, but every song in all versions differs. Probably the most startling event was the tale of Malcolm in version 2. In that manuscript, he rose through the clouds and descended on the mountains as colored rain that lasted for 2 weeks. He did not hold the lightning and break it in his hands or carve a riverbed with his voice. That part seems to have come from Simeon's Dream, a much shorter but much bloodier tale of which only fragments remain. We are fortunate that the silver manuscripts exist at all. It had been locked inside a giant clamshell when the wars ended and was not rediscovered until children found it by accident after Rekaut Balan was revealed in the giant upheaval of '83. That's all I know.